Any questions? Yes.
Do you know when the next review period begins?
Usually, each year we get a funding allocation around April of each year, if not the first of the year. We usually get it funded and done with by May, and we might get another allocation by the end of May for those folks that did not sign up, that we gave them opportunity to do a contract with us, and they chose not to, so they send that money back, and then they reallocate it back out to the states. Sometimes we have two allocations of funds, and sometimes we just have one.
So if they were to get an application in now, it probably wouldn't be reviewed until next April.
Right, but it's good that you would get an application in now. That way the offices can work with you on writing a conservation plan, because you have to have a conservation plan before you're approved for funding. So it wouldn't benefit you to wait till the last minute to sign up, because the offices are busy with writing conservation plans for those folks that came in 2 months ahead of you. And so they prioritize by that. So if you're interested, make sure you stop by one of our offices, and so you can get on the list, so they can schedule an appointment to write a conservation plan and go over programs more thoroughly.
Is Western Navajo Nation all in the same allotment area, or do we compete with other areas off the reservation?
So Western Navajo would be Dilcon area.
Mm-hmm. From here west.
Here west. So Dilcon will administer all of that area plus the Gap area. So okay. Dilcon receives that funding for those areas. And Kayenta, I'm not sure how far down Kayenta comes, in Chinle.
But we wouldn't compete with folks from Flagstaff or Winslow or Page?
No. How it happens is each one of our offices receives funding. So if you sign up and you sign up with Flagstaff, you're going to compete with Flagstaff, everybody that signs up with Flagstaff. But you sign up with Dilcon, you compete with everybody that signs up with Dilcon.
Can you give us a sense for how large the allotment for the Dilcon service area was this last year?
The state received about $16 million for EQIP. Each office, they go off of how many contracts the office currently has, along with completed contracts. So I believe Dilcon received $196,000 last year. Don't quote me on that, but somewhere around there. And each office is about the same on the reservation.
Okay. Any other questions?
And I will tell you that, these offices receive these allotments of money, but if they don't use it, it doesn't get, and no other office on the reservation is able to use that funding, it doesn't get used on the Navajo reservation. So it's very beneficial that you get the word out to the Navajo reservation and to the farmers that we have funding available if you qualify. But if it doesn't get used, it gets put somewhere else. It doesn't just stay there. So it doesn't benefit the people of the Navajo reservation, what it's intended to do. And that's all I wanted to say. The EQIP program, yes. That's one of the problems that NRCS has with contracts on the Navajo reservation. It's completing it. I think that with new administration issues that we've kind of gotten checked now with. One thing I didn't go over is when you sign up for a contract, we're able to pay a 30% upfront payment, kind of like startup money, to get started. We couldn't do that in the past. That just started this year. which could benefit a lot of folks on the Navajo reservation with, you know, collateral issues and that sort of thing, going to a bank. The 30% up front of your total contract could help you with starting your EQIP contract off. As far as how many, we have quite a few contracts on the Navajo reservation. We probably, each office probably averages about 5 contracts each. So that's probably about 20 contracts total on the Navajo reservation right now. Some offices have more. And I don't know how many have been completed, but I know that there's some that have been completed. With wells for livestock and storage tanks and water troughs and that sort of thing. We just completed one in the Chinle area on a rangeland unit.
So this website that you've given us, will it tell us what kind of services are provided, or does the services needed have to be written into the contract?
I don't know if I'm following your question.
What kind of services does the program provide?
Program provide.
Yeah.
So we identify your problems, and you say to me that, you know, your problem is water, and you're a rancher. So I would say to you that, okay, well, we can cost share with you to put in a well, a storage tank, a pipeline, and a trough. And that could be your whole EQIP contract. And that's all it is. But it's up to you to implement it. We write the contract, we provide the funding, but it'll be up to you to implement it. But our offices will provide you guidance whenever you need that for any issues that you're having with your contract. We don't usually write contracts and just let people go about their business, but we will definitely work with you on any kind of issues that you have once you have a contract.
So an applicant requesting for assistance, the contract, they also have to put money into the improvements or the developments?
Yes. The way the contract works is you have to expend money to get the funding that we provide. So if a well costs you $30,000, you have to come up with that $30,000 before we reimburse you the $30,000. It has to be complete and has to be up to our standards and specifications before we actually pay you back that amount of money. So that's where I was talking with her about. Right now, it allows us to pay a 30% upfront payment on any practices that you're going to install. So you can receive that upfront money to get the actual practice started, and then by the end, it's certified. We pay either your contractor, or we pay you, and then you pay the contractor. But yeah, you would have to come up with the upfront money, not the upfront money, but the matching money to get it done first, and then we would reimburse you as those practices are complete.
Is it a 90% reimbursement or is it 100%?
Yes, on the Navajo reservation, it is 90% reimbursement. Now that doesn't mean 90% of the actual cost. We have a cost, a payment schedule we call it, that we come up with. Now that's taken from actual practices being installed throughout the reservation. So we come up with the average. So it's not the actual, it's still our average cost that we come up with. And so when you get that contract, it will have the cost that you're going to receive for X amount of dollars. And then it's the benefit you to get estimates and to get as close to that dollar amount that we're actually going to have in that contract.